Last thing we're going to do is we are going to share, I'm going to share my screen. It is this right here. This is the problem. Can I share more than one thing? I can, that's awesome. I don't want to. But. All right, so here is what we're going to look at. I had already zoomed on this, but I guess I lost my zoom, so let me see. Here we go. I'm sorry, I can't really make it a whole lot bigger than that. So this says the following. It says a sparkling water distributor wants to make 200 gallons of sparkling water that they are going to sell for $5 a gallon. So she wishes to mix 3 grades of water selling for $10, $1, and $4.50 a gallon, and she's going to mix all those together respectively. For whatever reason, she must use twice as much of the $4.50 as the $1. So how many gallons of each should she use? Okay, so in your My Math Lab, this is 7.2.51. Okay, you'll see a problem. If it's not this exact problem, it'll be a problem similar with similar numbers. So, as with any word problem, we need to do what first? We need to do what? I'm sorry, I did not hear. We do need to create an equation, but before I can create an equation, I have to define what? My x, y, and z. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let x be the $10 water. I'm going to let the y be the $1 water. And I'm going to let the z be the $4.50 water. I'm going to share the screen again so you can see, because I'm assuming no one wrote that down real quick. So let me put this back up. So I'm going to read the first sentence, and you're going to help me form an equation. It says we want to make 200 gallons of water. I'm going to stop. So if I want to have 200 gallons all together, what am I going to do with my variables? I'm perfect. I heard several people say my first equation, because I want 200 gallons of water, it's going to be the amount of the $10 plus the amount of the $1 plus the amount of the $4.50 is going to be equal to 200 gallons. You with me so far? This is a hard problem. I'm glad we're doing it. I'm glad it got asked. Okay, so the next thing, I'm going to make anybody dizzy who watches the video. The next thing says that I want 200 gallons of water and I want it to cost $5 a gallon. Well, if I put those two things together, if I have 200 gallons of this sparkling water and it costs $5 a gallon, how much does it cost altogether? 1,000. So that's going to give me the ability to write my second equation. Okay, so my second equation is going to be this. Well, if I use X gallons of this first water, if I use X gallons of this water, how much do I spend on the first water? Perfect, 10X, I heard. So if I use 50 gallons, then 50 times 10, I've spent $500. The next water costs $1 a gallon. So if I use Y gallons, how much have I spent on this water? Okay, I'm going to write the 1 here, 1Y, so that when you go back through your notes, you know that we included that 1 in there. So now what's the term for how much I'm spending on the third? $4.50. So it's $4.50, which I'm going to take the 0 off, 4.5Z. And then I was already told that the total amount is 200 gallons times 5, or 1,000. That's where the 1,000 comes from. So just for your notes, I'm just going to put over here that 1,000 comes from the 200 gallons times the $5. I've got 3 variables, so I have to have 3 equations. So let's go back to the problem one more time. And when I do that, here's the caveat we were given. She must use twice as much of the $4.50 as the $1. Now, Kyle, I might have led you astray because this wording always ties my brain in a knot. If I'm using twice as much of the $4.50 as the $1, that means which one am I using more of? I'm using more of the 450, twice as much of the 450. So here's the relationship. The $1 one is given by Y. And if I'm using twice as much of the, and the 450 one's given by Z. And if I'm using twice as much of the 450 as the $1, that means I'm using twice. Yeah. This is the $1. And so my 450 is twice as much, or 2 times the $1 one. There's my 3 equations. So we're going to finish this off. For those of you watching the video, this is twice as much of the $1 for the 450. And now to solve this, remember I gave you some advice last time. I've written this nice and large, so I've used up most of my screen. So let me just do a deleting here. So first thing I'm going to do is I've got the x plus y plus z is equal to 200. I've got the 10x plus the y plus the 4.5z is equal to 1,000. And then this one, I'm going to bring the z over, and I've got 2y minus z equals 0. There's my system to solve. I'm going to finish solving this, so I might go a minute over. I apologize. I'm going to do one other thing to this equation right here. You're welcome to work with the decimal. It's not too unreasonable of a number, but I'm going to be consistent. What am I going to multiply every term by here to get rid of the decimal? 10. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm just going to do a little erasing. That's going to make the first term 100x. It's going to make the second term 10y. It's going to make the third term 45z, and the last term 10,000. Some advice I gave you when solving systems last time is take advantage of the fact that this first equation, or sorry, the bottom equation's already missing the x value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the x value of these 2 equations, and I save myself a step. So what do I need to do to which equation to get rid of the x values up top? I need to multiply this one by negative 100. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to write everything off to the side, and then I'll have my second equation, and then we can finish up. So negative 100 times x is just that, negative 100x. Negative 100 times y. Negative 100 times z. And then negative 100 times 200 is negative 20,000. I'm just going to translate this problem over. I've got 100x and then plus 10y minus, or no, sorry, plus 45z is equal to 10,000. My x's cancel. Negative 100 plus 10 is negative 90. Negative 100 plus 45 is negative 55. And negative 20,000 plus 10,000, negative 10,000. Let me get a better pen. We're almost done. I'm going to bring the 2y minus z over, but just to save us a little time, I'm also going to multiply it by something. It doesn't really matter what. Let's cancel the y values. If I'm going to cancel the y's between these 2 things, what do I have to multiply this equation by to cancel the y's? 45. So 45 times 2 is 90y. 45 times negative 1 is negative 45z. Oops, that should be a z. Sorry, everybody. And then 45 times 0 is 0. The y's cancel. Negative 55 and negative 45 is negative 100z. I got the variable right that time. Negative 10,000. And that means the z, or the amount of $4.50 water this person has to put in, is equal to 100 gallons. I'm going to leave the rest to you. I think the rest is the simple part on the way down. You're going to take the z, you're going to go back here and figure out how much of the y, then you're going to take those 2 values and use this equation, and you're going to figure out what the x is, and that's going to tell you all 3 amounts. So there you go. There's a nice quick example